Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Grab your coffee, right? Maybe some chocolate. Definitely chocolate cookie Oreos. Yeah. And let's get into it. So, being as though what happened yesterday with the Queen's passing, okay? Western Europe, as we know it, all right, is facing total collapse, okay? From catastrophic scarcity, price hikes surrounding food, fertilizer, energy, industry, okay? And it's due to exposure to energy markets and the desire of Western European governments to keep printing money to try to address the devastating energy scarcity that is now irreversible. And American banks, all right, have also had exposure to Europe's economies, which means a failure of Western European banks. And governments and currencies will spread like contagion to the United States and the dollar, with no solution in sight and no willingness among Europe's politicians to even consider reversing these policies that led to the crises. It seems that Western Europe is doomed to a simultaneous collapse of food, energy, industry, agriculture, and currency. Now, Putin, it seems, won't need to go to war with NATO after all, and NATO countries are destroying themselves with astonishing speed. Now, with, like I said, the death of Queen Elizabeth II, it's the death of Western Europe won't likely be far behind. Sad to say. The Queen has passed, but so has common sense, rationality, financial sanity, agricultural integrity. No civilization can survive without food, energy, money. And the leaders of Western Europe are hell-bent on utterly destroying all three of these things. Now, we're just a few months away from watching in horror as decades of virtue, signaling, and bad policy decisions come to fruition, bringing Western Europe to its knees with a level of devastation that hasn't been witnessed since World War II. And as a measure of just how bad it is, the government of Switzerland is now threatening a 3-year prison sentence for anyone who heats their home over 19 degrees Celsius, which is about 66 degrees Fahrenheit. And it is also reported that heating water over 60 degrees Celsius will be a criminal offense. And if that also applies to cooking, then no one in Switzerland will be able to boil water without becoming a criminal. And apparently the Swiss government is going to unleash a wave of temperature police, if you will, to burst into people's homes and measure their indoor temperatures to make sure that no one is actually warm. Even if you heat your house with wood, you can still go to prison for producing too much heat. Yeah. I know. It doesn't make any sense, but it's the truth. So, unfortunately, this self-inflicted destruction won't end with the fall of Western Europe. No, unless the trajectory of all this is immediately altered with the catastrophe, the catastrophe will spread throughout all of the Western nations, including the U.S. Canada, Australia, and Japan, bringing down the industry, real estate, GDPs, currencies. We're looking at a systematic, unrelenting wipeout of the euro, the yen, even the dollar. Combined with global de-dollarization efforts already well underway by China, Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, the era of abundance is over. Prepare for the era of collapse. The bottom line, unless a radical course of correction is immediately embraced, Western Europe will suffer a catastrophic collapse in 2023. And with collapse defined as 50% or more of the businesses and industries ceasing operations, causing mass destitution and angry uprisings across the continent, combined with widespread starvation and deaths from exposure, meaning freezing. All right. And the collapse of the United States will take longer to fully play out, but it is also inevitable. And the dollar will soon be history. And the financial solvency of the U.S. government will evaporate virtually overnight. Both the USA and Europe are going to end in mass uprisings, revolts, violent revolutions. No wonder the globalists are desperately trying to take us out, billions of us. And part of this effort, by the way, is deliberate, so that Western nations can clear the books of debt by declaring, once again, force majeure, and thereby canceling all of the financial obligations, both to Treasury debt holders and entitlement receivers among their own people. Anyone collecting a federal government pension, for example. I mean, like my husband, he works for the federal government. He doesn't receive a pension, but he gets paid by the federal government, okay? Even my son, Andrew, with being in the Marines, okay? Just hear me out. We're going to be left high and dry. Even worse, those left holding currencies like the euro, the yen, the dollar will be lucky to get 5 cents on the dollar once the great reset is fully realized. Let that sink in for just a moment. And all the goons who work for the feds, in other words, are going to be left with nothing. That includes the 87,000 new IRS agents who still think they're going to terrorize Americans, but will soon find themselves dumpster diving for food scraps. So, you know, this, I really hope that people seriously open their eyes and they understand what's really going on here, okay? There is going to be a total collapse. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And it's not all going to happen all at once. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe. You stay positive. You keep prepping. And as always, fear less.